Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for watching. This is another episode of Think Positivity, and I am Ethan Frelly. Thank you so much for watching. It has been a little bit of time, so I'd like to say a big welcome back to you guys and to my viewers, and then also a big welcome back to just the idea of thinking positivity, just because it's such a great idea. I wanted to start this a while ago, and it kind of fell off with the craziness that happened. It's kind of hard to just find the positivity. So super glad to be back. So what we're going to do is, like always, start each episode with what I am grateful for. And as you can see, there's much different background from my other episodes, which was just a corner. So now I actually have an office, and I'm super grateful for being able to move into this. It's personal office in my home, so it just makes doing business so much easier. Being able to do this type of recording, a lot more privacy. So super grateful, and I'm just wanted to share that. So kind of moving on. Like I said, there was a little bit of a delay in between the last couple of episodes, and it's a little bit different because I don't actually have a guest on this time. It's just going to be me speaking to the camera, so it's a little bit different as well in general. But I figured that it was kind of needed in that we in general been hearing about how many other people had been finding ways to find the positivity, and now it's time to hear how I would do it. So in general, like I said, it would start with talking to the guests about what they're doing, what they're seeing out there. So what I'm seeing out there, in what I think that it's going to be super helpful, especially if you're watching this and you're kind of like me, where if I find myself to be a positive person, but it's easy to get thrown off positivity. So if you're like that, in that if you do get thrown off that positive mindset, it's easy. So it's also easy, though, just as easy as it is to get it thrown off, you can get right back on there. And when I say positivity, I don't mean to ignore the negative that's going on. I wouldn't even say to pretend, don't even pretend like it's not even there. That's not what I mean by finding positivity. You can find positivity even when you do acknowledge that there's negativity around. You can even live in that negativity if you need to, especially if you feel bad about something, and especially if that's your process of grief, or process of just kind of making it through that hard time. If you need to live in that for a little bit, that's fine. But I guess my thing is that you don't want to fall down the negative spiral and descent into what would be called the pit of despair in sales, where if you're like in like a circle, like a half pipe, the pit of despair is just like right at the bottom, where it's like, if you're starting there, it's really hard to get out of that, going up and down. So if you get stuck in that, that's where you do need that kind of silver linings playbook of, or quote unquote, a silver linings idea of how to make it past that. So the one thing that I found is acknowledging and being intentional about knowing that everybody is kind of at their wits' end right now. So I like to start with giving grace to everybody. I think that the easiest way, and for the most part, most of us are driving, or at least most of us are out on the road. If you're doing like a Lyft or an Uber, or even taking a bus, you're seeing this a lot. I've seen, when pandemic started, there was nobody on the road, and now slowly, especially in the last couple of weeks, everyone's kind of back in the road, and it gets a little bit hairy, it gets a little bit scary, and there's a lot of stuff that's going around. And I find that sometimes people who maybe took a little bit of time off from driving, they might not feel as confident. So I think that knowing that there's people that have been driving, and then mixing in with people that haven't been driving for a little bit, giving grace to everybody on the road is probably going to make it a little bit easier. Even, I mean, like I said, I've been driving this whole time, and then I'll still I'm driving down the I drove down the road on the freeway today. I had somebody come up really fast behind me. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna try to race or anything. I just pulled off into the slower lane and let them pass. Whereas then the person in front of me didn't do that, and then it caused the fast driver to go around the right, which then again is also no, you shouldn't be doing that. And it causes other stuff because then you have merging lanes up ahead. So maybe that person that was speeding was really did have something that was more important than was going on in my life. So I'm honestly, I'm just going to give them the grace and just move over and not get not get upset about it. I think that for me, that's probably one of the easiest triggers as far as like just being out on the road and like getting passed on the right, or just let me move over and and you don't have to pass me on the right. So I've been doing my best to give grace. I also just in general, I'm just glad to be out and about. So just the idea of still like keeping gratitude in the back of my mind of like, okay, well, I'm glad that I'm able to find a spot to get out of this person's way. So that way they're not forcing me to speed or forcing me or hitting me or whatever it may be. So and that's three things. So being intentional about just life in general, but being intentional about starting with gratitude and giving grace to people, I think is going to be very, very helpful. If we kind of all just practice that a little bit, it would be it would make, I think, everyday life awesome. It really would. um, so another thing that a lot of people I think have been kind of challenged with. I know that I have been, and Daniela, my wife, has been too. It's just the cohabitation of all of us being in the same house all the time. Where normally we would be either driving, commuting for half an hour to an hour every day, and then working for the 7 to 8 hours a day. Right now, Daniela was affected the most out of our family, so she had to her business closed, and then I'm a business owner, so I had to stay open, and real estate pretty much just kept going. So then we were kind of forced into excuse me, the one of three categories, right? There's the both people were able to still work if you're in a dual income household. um, One person was able to work, whereas another person wasn't able to work, or both of you were not able to work, and then you're both hopefully able to have received the unemployment benefit and gotten that all taken care of. But then there's people that deserve the unemployment benefit that still are waiting for that too. So cohabitation is a challenge in general. Even if you're hermits and there's two hermits together. Hey, I want to hermit myself sometimes too. um, so I think that the things that have been really, really helpful for Daniela and I to make sure that this cohabitation has been as harmonious as possible, which is not always the case. I mean, we're humans, but we've been talking a lot, just in general, been intentional about speaking to each other. Um, there's been a lot of like, what's your schedule, what's your calendar look like, even if there's something is on my calendar. And Danielle asked me, what's your tomorrow look like. I'm ready to have that conversation, and then also putting into the calendar of like, I'm going to be home at this time, so that way we can have our intentional time, whether it's just a conversation outside of good night, hello, good morning. Because even though I'm Daniela's home, not working. She's of course working because she's taking care of the kids. And then, I'm half at home, half at the office, or showing homes, or at open house. So there's so many different places for me to be in. I think that the one difficulty has been that even though I've always had a home office, so just putting that in the back of the mind, I, a lot of times I was working half the day at home, and a lot of those half the days at home were quite quiet. And now that I'm home with a real office, I actually have a door, and I've got like soundproofing and everything. And also with pandemic, children are home, with Daniela being home as well. Even if I if there was somebody, if I was home, there would so I'll be also somebody be taking care of the child, the children, excuse me, which would be Julia. Julia would be with probably grandma um, or with me on my day off. But then also Enzo would be at school or preschool. So like I said, if pandemic wasn't happening, it would be quiet at this exact hour of the day, and no one would be home except for me. But now that I'm home more often, also I'm hearing I'm hearing stuff that's going on, and I also have to give the grace to Daniela that she's taking care of things, because the last thing I want to do is make her feel like I don't think that she's taking care of something, because I'm going to have to leave my office and help take care of the kids, because I feel like I need to go take care of it only because I can hear it. It's not necessarily that it would not have happened if I wasn't here. That would have been happening if I wasn't here. I just would be less aware of it. So I have to be more aware of stuff like that when it hasn't been an issue before. But I don't want it to be an issue. I don't want Daniela to think that, because I'm coming out of my office to help her, that she thinks that I think she's not doing a good job. So kind of being intentional, just giving each other grace, and kind of um, doing your best to put yourself in the other person's shoes, to make sure that you're kind of helping out. I kind of equated to, and it wasn't necessarily a joke, but kind of in my mind it's kind of funny. But often people, younger guys, would ask me, how do you be a good husband, because we're Danielle and I are coming up to our 10-year anniversary in the next couple of days. And often you'll have friends that are getting married, or they're just asking, like, what's it take to have a strong familial unit, and specifically to be a good spouse. And I'd always just joke, learn to read minds, because that's what you have to do. You have to kind of learn to read each other's mind, and it will honestly become pretty easy to do. You can kind of tell with with physical cues and body language what the other person wants. So it's not necessarily maybe reading minds, but just kind of reading what's going on in the situation. So keep that in mind. Try to read your spouse's mind. It might actually work. So the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about was that dealing just in general with what's going on, and kind of just circling back to starting with grace and with gratitude, and giving grace to everybody. I keep hearing a lot of people try to make it easier for other people. Okay, don't worry, we're in this together. We're in this pandemic together. We're in this quarantine together. We're all dealing with this together. And I'm not saying that is incorrect, but I am going to add that even though we are dealing with this together, it's the same storm, but we're not in the same boat. So we're riding this wave, and it's the same wave, yes, but we're not all going to be in the same boat. So like I had mentioned, the three different types of just dual income households. There's people that are more than dual income households. There's single income households. So everyone's getting affected completely different. So making sure that you understand that at this point, especially, I think this is the most truest it's ever been, is that every day everyone is fighting the battle of their lives. They really are. They're living their life, but they're also fighting the battle of their life. You are, I am, everybody is, and it's especially true right now during this pandemic. So don't feel like you're alone, because you're not, but also don't feel like everyone is doing this the exact same way. So if you do have questions, ask how are you doing to another person, or how are you getting by with this. And if you need someone to talk to, you message me, find me on Facebook. If you're watching this on Facebook, that's pretty easy to do. So I'm very, very open to just hearing you out if you have any questions, or just want to just let some ideas loose. That's what I'm here for. I think that's what a lot of your friends are here for. There's probably more that are more open to it than others, and I'm pretty sure you know who those people are. So, once again, just be intentional about starting your day with gratitude. That will help put a smile on your face, and do your best to give everybody grace. So I'm going to end with one quick little anecdote. I was returning something yesterday. I was actually returning a bubble machine that we bought for Enzo, and it just wasn't working. Um, and the return process can be annoying and stressful, and I was very grateful it wasn't, because the person that was doing the return, she really liked bubbles, and she made it very clear, and she was just like, it doesn't matter that you're returning this. I don't care. Like, whatever, because she work, or she really didn't care. But she's like, I just really like bubbles. You can't. She's like, say bubbles without smiling, and of course you can't say bubbles without smiling, because it's a fun word. So if you're looking for something fun and something to put a smile on your face, go ahead and just end with saying bubbles. Thank you so much, everybody. If you liked what you watched, please like, share. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. It's Think Positivity. If you're watching this on Facebook, can you follow the link and subscribe to YouTube? It won't the YouTube channel. It won't hurt you or anything. And then also just please like it anywhere you can, and share us if you do feel share it to somebody if you do feel like they need some positivity in your life. And don't forget to say bubbles.